Alors, bonjour à tous et bienvenue à ce quatrième bloc de conférence portant sur les plantations. Welcome everybody. I saw that several people who are connected to this meeting are located in various countries, including a large contingent from Brazil, which is not a surprise given that our first talk today will be given by a Brazilian student. Alors, je vais faire ça en anglais et en français. Alors, nous avons deux présentations ce matin. Et donc, chaque présentation dure 12 minutes. Et les questions, donc, nous poserons les questions à la fin de la deuxième présentation. Nous aurons une séance de questions. So, there will be two presentations in this meeting, and I will ask participants to wait until the end of the second presentation to ask their questions. So, without further ado, I will invite the first speaker today, Sara Yumi Sassamoto Kurokawa, who's a student with Sergio Rossi, Sylvain de Lagrange and Valentina Buteau at UCAC to do her presentation on a disease of Eucalyptus. So, Sara.
Bonjour à tout le monde. Je voudrais parler en français, mais lorsque du prochain colloque, c'est sûr, je vais parler en français. Good morning, and I'm going to share my screen. Yes. Can you see clear now?
Yep, very good.
Yeah, I would like to know more about me and my project, which I did during my master's degree. And the title is Morpho-molecular Characterization and Epidemiology Comparison of Powdery mildew in Eucalyptus clones conducted in nursery. As you know, I developed this project in my uni at São Paulo State. And yeah, so I want you familiarize about the topic. And I don't know if you know about this tree, but eucalyptus is really important in my country. It was introduced in 1824 as ornamental tree. And during this time, they discovered that they knew that the potential of this tree, such as civil construction or pulp or paper. And nowadays, we see that there are more than 7 million of hectares planted in this really vast area. And you know, because of this vast planted area, you can imagine there can have many problems, including the disease problems. And actually, you can see on the field, you can see also in the nursery or clonal garden. And one of most important in clonal garden is the topic is powdery mildew. I'm pretty sure that you have seen these scenes on your garden or backyard, where you see this powdery on the top of the leaves. And it's not trichomes, it's not froze, it's also this fungus. And the best temperature for it is between 18 to 22 degrees. This weather condition in Brazil is usually in winter time, but don't be surprised because it's really hot in my country. And the best growing mycelium condition is around 21 to 30 when it's a controlled area. You see how important it is because can reduce in 40% of the leaf area and also decrease the production. Well, after this brief introduction, I would like to follow my two aims, which are to identify the species of powdery mildew and if it occurs in other hosts or in other around the world. And my hypothesis, it can have such species or can have other gender too. They present the epidemiological seasonality when it happens in two conditions, which are open roof and covered by a plastic diffuser in clonal gardens. To make sure how it looks like, you can see here on my image, here is the open roof clonal garden. Here is covered, but is also open around here. And this, where I set my experiment, is here in São Paulo. You can see my Brazilian image. And to know how how I analyze, how I saw this disease, we develop a scale of note, and we measure the severity from 0% to 100%. This is a total full of powdery mildew. We need to take into account that the irrigation system and the nutrition is totally controlled. And also I use 4 clones. They are commercial in my country, which are I144, IPB13, IPB2 and Toreliodora. Well, and for the climatic variables, there were 2 stations. One located here, is here in the covered with the cover condition, and also in another station outside, we collected data from temperature, relative humidity, precipitation, and photosynthetically active radiation. And here you see, I won't be in deep for this topic if you want to make a question about my DNA extraction, but actually I follow all the steps that you need for this DNA. And what is important to know is the protocol I use. It's a doily for DNA for fungus. And I follow the steps of lease, first extraction, purification, precipitation, wash, drying, resuspension, and quantify the DNA as a 30 nanograms per microliters. Also, we finish with polymerized chain reaction with all the reagents necessary, and the primaries used for these was ITS1 and ITS4. We did the Sanger sequence, and to conclude all the characterization, we also did the morphological characterization. Well, now we see that the fungus we find here in Brazil is in asexual form, which are in conidia, and with ellipsoid, ovoid forms, the conidiophore you can see, and how it looks like on the top of the leaves. Well, and when we compare with the data around the world, we saw many different hosts, many different locations, and all of them, which was in the system, we could see it was Podosphera panosa. The other information we need to know is the area under the disease progress curve. And as you can see in these 2 images on the left, it's the conditions, and it's pretty clear that covered with that plastic diffuser, it had a lot more severity, a higher severity. And on the right side, we see the clones, and you see that I144, it was more suitable to powdery mildew. And here you see that 2 graphs, one on the left of about open roof and the other covered by the plastic diffuser, and also the severity of the disease. I saw the 4 clones, the climatic variables, temperature and relative humidity above 90%. And what we see here that on the left, there is severity, but below the temperature of 23 degrees. On the other hand, if you see there is a higher humidity and the temperature can achieve 29 degrees, there is no disease. On the cover condition, it's not pretty clear what happened because we see severity all the time. So we cannot focus on this condition also. Well, if you see that precipitation you will have during on the open roof condition, Again, if there's no precipitation, this fungus looks like really like it, this condition. And with this temperature below 23 degrees. Now back to my aims. I would like to answer that questions about what species and what the seasonality. And actually we found that the species Podosphera panosa is, we can find different hosts and different environments. The precipitation in the open roof condition, it seems the main climate factor for the interfere in the appearance or not of this disease. And the temperature in both conditions can influence. I wouldn't suggest so the covered due to the price for building the structure. So I recommend keep it open roof and simple. And I144 clone look the more suitable for this disease. So I wouldn't recommend this clone. If you have any other question, if you want to know more about my project, it's available on the website, will be available in the future. And to access quickly, or it's in Portuguese, but you can use Google Translator, will help you a lot. And I would like to thank everyone for watching, and all my friends who is already in this meeting, and all my family too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sara. You did a very interesting work. I'm a pathologist, so I'm always glad to see a presentation in plant pathology. And so very nice work. I'll have several questions to ask you after, later on. Thank you too for very good time management, because we're right on time.